Exxaro is primarily a coal producer with extensive operations delivering steam coal for export and power station coal to Eskom. In addition, it has a highly profitable minority interest in the Sishen iron ore mine and has a stake in heavy mineral producer Tronox. Exxaro has a market cap of 62 billion rand, a price to earnings ratio of 9.7 and a dividend yield of 5%. Exxaro, Sipho Nkosi, what do you make of the company, Paul?
It's a fascinating story, and I think one does need to go back a bit. It's by far the largest stock we're going to talk about tonight, so let's give it some good time here. Effectively, this is the old coal mining division of Eskom. So in the olden days, when Eskom was established as a parastatal, it had tied mines, which were the iron ore mines and the coal mines. Then, as time passed, it got reorganized. It emerged as, Kumba Resources, and then it split in parts, and Kumba Iron Ore went the one way and Exxaro went the other. Sipho Nkosi, you mentioned, was an empowerment entrepreneur who positioned himself together with the Anglo-American group. And Anglo-American is still and was a significant owner of coal mines in the Mpumalanga region. So what Sizwe did is he basically proffered himself as a vehicle, and they sort of used the coal mining division of the old Kumba group to create Exxaro, and then they popped into it one of the world's most wonderful assets, which is a 26% stake in the Kumba iron ore mine, the Sishen one, out there in the Northern Cape. So it's a slightly odd beast. You've got these operational assets on the one hand, controlled by Sipho and his associates, because 52% of Exxaro belongs to this BEE Holdco, which is a vendor-funded thing, and so on and so forth. But clearly they are in a sort of preeminent position vis-a-vis all of the new developments that Eskom is doing and the Sasol is doing, because they've got wonderful coal assets and they've got a prime position insofar as that allocation in the Richards Bay coal terminal export. That's the exported stuff. So they kind of got it both ways. They've got that fabulous new coal field up, not new really, up near Lephalale, Ellisras, which is the one used for the existing power station.
You seem to be quite positive on Exxaro. What are your thoughts on Exxaro, Ian, right now?
I'm positive. We saw the figures there a moment ago. PE of just under 10. Old-fashioned terms, a 10% earnings yield, 5% dividend yield. That's very attractive. There's space to continue that sort of dividend cover, I think, and that's a reasonable dividend nowadays. Yes, it may be a risky area because there's mining involved in it, but I think that the fundamentals justify it as strong attraction.
So it's all about the risks involved for this company going forward, Paul. Do you see any risks in the
Yeah,
horizon?
well, I suppose the longer term issue about coal and coal use and so on is what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But understand, all the export coal goes out via Richards Bay to China and to India, because those are both countries with lots of power stations with not much coal of their own. All of the local stuff, which they laughingly refer to as carbon-enriched real estate, in other words, low calorific value coal, goes to Eskom on a cost-plus basis. But Eskom, if you've driven down to eMalahleni, you can see there's power stations in every way you turn. Those are going to burn a lot of coal and will continue to. Plus, we've got Medupi and Kusile, the two new enormous coal-fired power stations. No one else in the world in their right mind is building coal-fired power stations like that. But hey, this is South Africa. We're just carrying on. So none of those threats really about substitution are a reality. Because if we're going to generate, 40 or 50,000 megawatts per annum peak load, we've got to come from somewhere, and that's where it's going to come from. So I think this company is going to continue to do very well. The ups and downs of the price and so on do come into it. I think that's why it's on a 10 PE, because, coal prices have been a bit iffy of late.
All right, Ian, are you hot or not on this one?
No, I'm hot on it. Another thing I'd like to mention just on the coal price. Yes, it's been quite a lot higher, but it's all linked to the oil price, the primary energy producer now. And if that's sort of in the middle of a broad trading area, trading band, then coal may not be that much threatened from a price point of view in the middle of a range. So I would be hot on it. Definitely.
Hot or not?
I don't know. I'm sort of a bit ambivalent. Because like Billiton, it sold all of their South African thermal coal assets, and they've been investing heavily in natural gas assets in America and so on. They think that's the future. Lower carbon footprint from that, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know. I mean, like I say, they've got a great asset entitlement. I think they're going to continue to make a lot of money. There's that Tronox thing we haven't even talked about here. That was some old mineral sands assets which Eskom had, which they just sort of ended up getting. I've said on record in the past, I'm not that keen on Exxaro going to do all these sort of new acquisitions in West Africa and all that sort of thing. But then again, the iron ore asset I love. So, I mean, and that's been a big profit spinner. So I guess I'm going to have to go with hot after all of that.
So
May I make one more comment on
one
it?
more comment.
Just one more quick
You
comment.
like Exxaro tonight.
And the thing is also that, as Paul just mentioned, export markets to India and China, let's say, who are less critically involved or concerned about the environment as, say, America or Western Europe, I think that adds to the potential to grow the export side as well.